Imagine a woman so drunk on her own authority that she marched straight to my backyard gate. Fists flying like she owned the concrete. Screaming for me to open my private pool to the whole neighborhood. Then she dialed 911 and demanded they arrest me for denying community access. What she didn't know was that every entitled word was already streaming in perfect HD, straight to a folder labeled evidence. My name is Nathan Reed. I'm a high school history teacher. A single dad to a 12-year-old girl who thinks the world is still mostly fair. And the son of a man who poured every ounce of his sweat into that pool with his own hands. And this is the story of how one Karen's obsession with control turned a quiet suburban street into her personal courtroom, until the footage proved she was the one on trial. The neighborhood of Maple Grove looked like the kind of place you see in real estate ads, perfectly trimmed hedges. Kids on bikes. American flags fluttering in the breeze. But underneath that postcard perfection sat an HOA that treated bylaws like scripture and Debbie Langford as its high priestess. Debbie was the president, real estate agent by day. Self-appointed morality enforcer by night. She spoke in that syrupy, concerned voice that made you feel guilty for breathing too loud. We're all in this together. Neighbors. For the children. Of course. My father built the pool in 1987. Long before any HOA existed. He was a construction worker who lost my mom young and wanted his kids to have one place that felt like ours. No contractors. Just him. A wheelbarrow. And stubborn love. I still remember the day the concrete was poured, me and my sister running barefoot across the fresh slab while Dad grinned through the dust. That pool wasn't just water and tile. It was where I taught my daughter to swim after her mother passed. It was the only place that still smelled like my dad's aftershave when the wind hit it right. I never went looking for trouble. After the rumors started, I kept my head down and my gate locked. The whispers began small. Nathan's turning into a real loner. He won't even let the kids cool off on a hot day, selfish. Right? Debbie made sure those stories spread at every block party and HOA meeting. She painted me as the bitter widower who hated children. Even though the truth was simpler, it was my private property. And after losing my wife, I needed one space that still felt safe and sacred for my daughter. I smiled politely, nodded, and said nothing. Inside, I watched. And I prepared. One humid July evening, Debbie showed up at my front door with 2 board members trailing like eager interns. She wore a pastel cardigan and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. Nathan. Honey, she cooed. We've been talking. And the board feels it would be just wonderful to open your pool to the community for a few events. Think of the memories. The children splashing. Families bonding, it would really boost neighborhood spirit. I leaned against the doorframe. Arms crossed. Debbie. The pool's on land my father deeded before your HOA even existed. It's private. Always has been. Her smile twitched. But only for a second. Oh. Sweetie. You're being difficult. These old deeds can be reinterpreted. For the greater good. I closed the door gently. That was the moment the paper war began. First came the courtesy notices. Then the fines. $250 for unauthorized private amenity. Another $150 for failure to allow reasonable community access. They even tried to bill me for imaginary shared maintenance on a pool they had no legal right to touch. I kept every single letter. Dated and scanned. My lawyer, old friend from college, reviewed them and laughed. They're fishing. Nathan. Your deed is ironclad. But they're hoping you'll just pay to make it stop. I didn't pay. I documented. Debbie wasn't done. She took the fight online to the neighborhood Facebook group. Her post was a masterpiece of passive aggression, It breaks my heart when one homeowner hoards resources that could bring joy to so many families. Some people just don't understand community spirit. Praying for them. The comments piled up. Typical. He's probably sitting on that lounge chair alone while kids suffer in the heat. Someone even started a poll: should the HOA force access to private pools for events? The results were ugly. At the grocery store. Former friendly neighbors suddenly found the cereal aisle fascinating when I walked by. My daughter came home from school one day in tears because a classmate asked why her dad hates kids. I hugged her tight and told her the truth: some adults never grew up. They just got clipboards. Still, I stayed quiet. The cameras I'd installed years earlier, small, discreet, aimed only at my own property, kept rolling. Every time Debbie casually walked past and muttered about that selfish read, the audio caught it crystal clear. Every snide comment at the mailbox. Every fake sweet threat delivered over the fence. I smiled, nodded, and let her keep digging her own grave. The escalation hit a new level when she sent a crew. One Saturday afternoon I heard trucks rumbling down the street. 3 guys in vests were unloading ladders and measuring tapes right outside my gate. Debbie stood there in heels and a sun hat, directing them like a general. "We're doing a safety inspection," she announced. Chin high. New board policy. The pool needs to be brought up to community standards. I stepped outside. Calm as ever. "You don't have jurisdiction here." "Debbie. Turn around." She laughed, that bright, practiced laugh she used when she thought she was winning. "Nathan. Don't be paranoid. We're helping you. Imagine how nice it'll be when every family can enjoy it. For the children." One of the workers looked uncomfortable. I stared at her. "Step 1 foot past that gate and I'll have you charged with trespassing. I've got it on video already." Her smile faltered for the first time. The crew packed up and left. But the threats in my mailbox got thicker after that. The night it all exploded was a sticky mid-August Saturday. I was grilling burgers for my daughter and her best friend when I heard the familiar click-clack of Debbie's heels on the sidewalk. She wasn't alone. 2 board members flanked her. Phones already recording like they'd rehearsed this victory lap. "Open this gate immediately." "Nathan," she demanded. Voice loud enough for the whole block to hear. "The board has voted. This pool is being integrated into community use tonight. We have families waiting." Kids from neighboring yards clutched towels. Wide-eyed. Porch lights flicked on. Neighbors leaned over fences like it was free entertainment. I stood on my side of the gate, arms loose at my sides. "This is private property. You have no authority here." Debbie's face flushed. "You're violating HOA covenants. Denying access to shared amenities. I'm calling the police right now." She dialed 911 with dramatic flair. "Yes. Officer. We have a homeowner refusing lawful community access to a pool that belongs to all of us. He's being hostile and obstructive." Red and blue lights eventually painted the water. 2 officers stepped out, looking more annoyed than alarmed. Debbie straightened like a queen addressing peasants. "There he is," she jabbed a manicured finger straight at me. "Arrest him. He's breaking the rules." The officers glanced at the gate, then at me, then at the growing crowd of neighbors now openly filming on their phones. One cop asked, "Sir, what's going on here?" Before I could answer, Debbie launched into her greatest hits, community spirit. The children. How I was a danger to neighborhood harmony. Her voice climbed higher with every sentence, that sweet tone cracking into pure entitlement. I reached into the folder I'd brought out with me and slid the original deed under the gate. Filed in 1987. before the HOA even formed. This land was never included in your covenants. Check the survey lines. One officer took the paper and started reading. Debbie's face went from triumphant to confused to furious in seconds. That's outdated, she snapped. We have new rules. My lawyer's sedan pulled up right on cue. He'd been on standby. He stepped out, calm as a summer breeze, and handed the officers a thick folder. Officers, my client's property is legally exempt. These recordings show repeated harassment, false claims, and attempted trespass. Everything is timestamped. The first video played on the officer's phone, Debbie's voice crystal clear. You'll open that gate eventually, Nathan, or we'll make your life hell. Her smug little laugh right after. The second clip showed her directing the inspection crew onto my property line. The third captured her spreading lies in the Facebook comments. Debbie's face went through every shade of red. Those are taken out of context. This is private property, my conversation. The officers weren't buying it. Neighbors were now openly laughing and filming her meltdown. One kid whispered loudly, "She sounds like my mom when I don't clean my room." Debbie pointed at the cops again. Voice shrill. "Do your jobs. Arrest him." The lead officer sighed. "Ma'am, from what I'm seeing, you're the one creating the disturbance. Step back." That was the moment her mask shattered completely. She started waving her printed bylaws like a deranged flag, screaming about the children and community rights while her board members slowly backed away, suddenly very interested in their shoes. The more she ranted, the more phones captured every unhinged second. By morning, the videos were everywhere. HOA Karen melts down over private pool trended locally. The same neighbors who'd ghosted me weeks earlier were now sending thumbs-up emojis and apology texts. The lawsuit was almost anticlimactic. My lawyer presented the deed, the recordings, the mountain of harassing notices, and the defamation campaign. The judge didn't even need long to decide. The HOA's claims were dismissed. They owed me damages plus every penny of my legal fees. Debbie was ordered to issue a public apology in the neighborhood newsletter. 2 weeks later, a single-sheet resignation letter appeared in every mailbox. Deborah Langford would no longer serve as HOA president. No fanfare. No dramatic speech. Just silence. The neighborhood changed almost overnight. People started leaving bikes on lawns again. Kids laughed louder. Block parties felt lighter without the constant threat of citations. My daughter invited friends over to swim without whispered rumors following them home. I still keep the cameras up, not out of paranoia, but as a quiet reminder. Preparation beats panic every time. And every time I sit by that pool at dusk, watching my daughter cannonball in, I hear my dad's voice. Some things are worth guarding. Son, arrogance always collapses when it meets quiet, patient truth. So tell me, was I wrong for protecting what my father built with his own hands? Or was Debbie the real problem, a small-time tyrant who finally met a gate she couldn't bully open? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one.